Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of A Mic on the Podium with me, Michael Seal. Before we start, I want to thank my latest Patreon subscriber, Judith, for her support, and all my other Patreon subscribers for their continued support. This podcast would struggle to continue without them, and my Patreon page has become a great place to learn about, and to chat about, all aspects of conducting. There'll be more about my Patreon page later on in this episode. Today, I conduct a conversation with a conductor whose early career was as the founder of a world-famous string quartet. After retiring as a violinist, he has had a very successful career with title positions in Switzerland, the Republic of Ireland, the United Kingdom, and his native Hungary. It is a great pleasure to welcome Gábor Takács-Nagy. Gábor, it's wonderful to meet you today and to speak with you and to chat with you. How are you?
Oh, thank you very much. I look for very much for this interview. I'm just switching off my telephone here. It's here. Yes, okay.
It's always wise to switch off one's telephone. I've had various conductors binging and bonging in the background, so it's
yes,
fine.
I know.
I'm going to go back because we're both violinists. I used to play second violin in the City of Birmingham Symphony Orchestra, and I started at the age of 9. I read that you started the violin at the age of 8.
Yes.
Were your parents musical? Was that your first instrument?
Nobody was musical.
Yeah.
Nobody was musical. My first musical memory is my great-grandmother was singing Hungarian folk songs for me.
Mm.
And what I remember, my parents told me later that in the kindergarten, when I went in Budapest, the teachers, or how can I say, the nurses in the kindergarten, told my parents that Gábor has to have a good ear because he is never singing out of tune. If he doesn't if I'm not sure about what's happening, I'm rather not singing.
Yeah.
This was the first sign for that maybe I am talented.
And why the violin aged 8?
Because in the elementary school in Budapest, a gentleman came into, I remember it was maybe geography lesson or something like this. And a gentleman came in who'd like to play here the violin. And I put up my hand. But this is fate, this is destiny. Maybe if it would have been a pianist or a cello teacher, I would have me. No, that's it. So it is strange. Yeah.
And you went on to the Franz Liszt Academy, which is also in Budapest.
Yes,
yeah.
but before at the age of 16, I quit violin.
Oh, really?
I quit because I had pain everywhere. I was very emotional, but I know now I did not have a real natural good technique. But I wanted to express a lot. I lifted my shoulder. So all the things which is taboo I did. And I finished violin, and I wanted to be a winemaker. So I completely left the school, the middle Béla Bartók Music School, which is before the Franz Liszt Music Academy, and I wanted to go to university or garden. I wanted to be gardener or something like this, or winemaker. But when I was 17, after 1 year, my later violin teacher called my parents that I want to bring back Gábor to violin.
Mm.
And I won't talk too much, but I have to tell you, one joke changed my life. And this was because I went with this, I knew that he's a famous violin teacher. He told me, Gábor, don't quit violin playing, come back, and I would bring you back and you won't have pain, blah, blah, blah. But I'm telling you a joke. He told me, a Catholic priest, a Lutheran priest, and the rabbi having dinner together, and they eating something which is with mushroom. Suddenly the cook comes in saying, oh, terrible things happened. The mushroom which I served to you is poisonous. So they calling a doctor comes and telling, you have only 1 minute left, 1 hour left, pardon, 60 minutes left. They asking the Catholic priest, what are you doing? The Catholic priest saying, I'm praying to God and peacefully waiting for my last second. The Lutheran priest saying, I'm also praying to God, saying goodbye to my family. And Rabbi, what are you doing? And Rabbi asking, how much time do I have? You have 60 minutes. In this case, I'm quickly looking for another doctor. I think it's a good joke. And he told me, and I started to laugh because I always laughed humor. And this laugh and this joke, okay, I will try. No, but it's really, this joke changed me and I went back. Now, okay. And after I went to the Francis Music Academy and I met them there, my colleagues of the Takács Quartet. We immediately formed in the first year.
Yeah. Before we go on to your wonderful time with your quartet, which started when you were 19 or in 1975.
19. I was 19. I was 19.
Before we get to there, in previous episodes, I've spoken to 3 conductors who were brought up under a communist regime. Andrus Nelson's, personally, I've spoken to him about it. And on this podcast, Vasily Petrenko and Kirill Karabits. Now, we didn't really talk about the politics of communism or the regime or the terrible things that happened.
Yes.
But all 3 of those conductors I know are thankful for being brought up in a communist regime because of the music education.
Oh, it was fantastic. Yes.
Yeah. Mm.
Now, yes. 2 sides of the story.
Yeah.
We knew that in the society, we have to be shut up. I mean, you cannot express yourself, your thoughts. Of course, it was dangerous. Yeah. But teachers told us, boys, in the society, of course, you not expressing yourself, but here in the building and when you play music, your number one obligation is express from your heart. You have to open up. And somewhere this was a kind of escape psychologically also, that somewhere they even asking us to express our inner feelings. And Michael, this was a time in the 70s when they told openly the goal of music making is not avoiding mistake, but playing music. So in the lessons, they did not kill us if the F sharp was not in tune. On the other hand, we wanted to, of course, the F sharp in tune. And they did not say 1 second is not together. They told, oh, boys, you don't feel the same pulsation. You not feel the phrase the same way. So it was fantastic musical orientated education. So we learned technique through music. And so this was one side of the story. And the other side, our teachers, the border was closed. So they were brilliant. One of them were brilliant pianist, and György Kurták, the composer, was the other teacher. They could not travel abroad. So they put 500% energy of every lesson. Not because could not travel, but you understand me, it was a closed society and all the energy went into the students. And and also was not many things to distract us. We practiced like crazy. It was 2 terrible channels in the communist television channel. So I mean, of course, no computer. So I don't know. I'm not at all sad. In fact, I'm grateful to fate that this was this time like this. I'm not praising the communist regime, but that the circumstances for learning music and with fantastic musicians were great. And also, I have to also say something, that my fantastic teachers, all of them were Jewish origin. And why is it important? Because in the middle of 70s, 30 years before, they went through them or their families awful things. And these people were so much full with emotions. So for them, every note was a question of life or death. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but you understand me. These people were so emotional. They went through so much things. So they experienced the most horrible things till the Schubert or Mozart or Beethoven, this magical spiritualism. So these people were really full persons. You understand my point? It's strange.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't care if somebody is Jew or not, but in this sense, it was somewhere an extra plus, you know.
An extra dimension
an extra
that
dimension,
brought,
not a plus, an extra dimension
that they brought to their music making, their teaching, and you talk about the border being closed, but of course the Takács Quartet, you were in it for 17 years and internationally famous. And 92, you left the quartet down to a technical thing. I read hand stress.
My right hand. My right hand. If you can see me, wait, I will show you very quickly, just 20 seconds.
Yes.
In 1988, November, just a very quick introduction. In Tokyo, we played in the Pablo Casas Hall. I even remember, it's a chamber music hall in Tokyo. We played Bartók Fifth, number 5 string quartet, and I felt that I cannot use the whole bow when I wanted at 40 or 40. So I thought I'm tired, but later I realized it got worse and worse. If you can see,
yes,
this finger, but only on the stage, I grabbed it too much. A kind of crisp came, and many times it were falling. So I developed this, but it's only happened in front of public. So it was. I'm sorry for my colleagues. Also, I went through terrible things. I went to many psychiatrists. I went to violinists. This exercise, this, getting medicines, meditation, blah blah. But did not help. And then when at the end it went badly. And in 92, October 20th was my last concert in London in the Law Society. Haydn, Bartók, Beethoven we played, but it was I played 20% of my ability, and next day we talked with the boys. It was difficult, but we agreed that I'm leaving in another first violin coming, but I am very good contact with the boys, which András and András is still the cellist of the quartet. Károly, Charlie went out, who was the second violin because had shoulder problems some years ago, but I'm in very good contact with them. As good that even 2 hours ago we sent each other some jokes even.
Wow.
We send, they are living in Boulder, Colorado. So I'm really very good friends with them.
Well, I'm just going to explain to the listener that Gábor was holding up a pencil, as all violinists can do, to show the bow grip. And it was a problem really with the thumb and being able to hold the bow, thumb and the forefinger, and being able to bow and feeling like you're going to drop it. And there can be nothing worse as a string player thinking that all of the time you're about to drop the bow. It feels awful. I mean,
it feels awful.
Yeah, it's something that we sometimes struggle with nerves. You know, and maybe you're thinking, oh, everybody's looking at me, I'm going to drop the bow or something. But yeah, if you're dealing with that on a daily basis, well, then I'm not surprised that it probably played hell with your mind and
it's
your body.
awful.
You come back 4 years later and form the Takács Piano Trio, and then also a new quartet, Mikrokosmos Quartet. Where I'm heading now is because we haven't mentioned the C word yet, which is conducting. I'm going to head to you becoming the concertmaster in around 96 of the Budapest Festival Orchestra.
In 93.
93, okay.
93.
Well, again, Wikipedia strikes. Wikipedia is not always 93. Reliable. Yeah.
But Michael, the first... 93, I became the, Ivan Fischer invited me to being the concertmaster, but a kind of, not always, because I lived already in Geneva, Switzerland. So I did all the most important tours with them and all the Philips recording, which with the orchestra we recorded. So from 93 till 2001, I played in the orchestra. So I a little bit also learned from inside the psychology of what's happening inside of an orchestra. But in 91, I have to go back to 91, I still played in the Takács, And on the 200th anniversary of Mozart's death, was special concerts in London and Vienna, and we played with George Scholti in Queen Elizabeth Hall and Vienna Musikverein, the Mozart G minor piano quartet. And when we worked with Scholti in his Hampstead house, it was in 91 October, November, suddenly turned to me and told me, "Oh, Gabor, you could be a very, very good conductor because your body language is very, very clear. I can easily come in and I understand everything." This was, but it remained in my brain. But I thought, oh, who knows? I had to start. But 93, I went and played 8 years in the orchestra. I'm regretting one thing. I did not know at this time that I will be really a conductor. And if I would have known, I would have looked and analyzed why a conductor is effective or maybe not as much, or what is their rehearsal method, blah, blah, blah. Because, of course, you know, unbelievably well. So it's so many different ways. And I wasn't aware of the fact that I should, I can learn now things. Of course, I remember things.
Yeah.
But one thing I learned, that it was, and you know it, of course, we know that it was fascinating that a conductor came, a guest conductor or somebody, and how different musicians' opinion were about. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Anyway, so yes. So I learned this time that never anybody can win an orchestra.
No, absolutely right.
It's hopeless.
I say it to students now, that if you have to be aware that every orchestra you conduct, and even if you've got a wonderful relationship with them,
yes,
there will be somebody in that orchestra who hates you.
Yes, of course.
And it can be for no real reason. It can just be a beauty contest they don't like, or the way that you speak. But you just have to be aware that you cannot have 100% love. No. And as you've just said, I remember going out for a cigarette in the break and speaking to people and saying, "Oh, I really like this conductor," and going, "Really, I hate them." You just think, well, how can it be so polarized?
Yes, totally polarized.
Yeah, but it's exactly as you say.
I'm not saying the name. There came somebody, cannot say the name, a conductor, and 70% of the, but very well known, 70%, wow, fantastic. 30%, cannot stand him, overrated. But it was unbelievable. It's like this.
Well, it's funny because you sort of preempted my next question, which is, how much do you think you rely on those days with the Budapest Festival Orchestra now as a conductor? You've said it yourself that you wish you'd remembered more or taken more notice, but surely some of it would rub off.
Yes, but probably instinctively I have some memories.
Yeah.
Yes. I realized one thing. Why the orchestra player looks a kind of poker face, not poker face, but sitting and the conductor is talking to them. I look, not many people showing any emotion, but one bad word or something, a cynical or hurting word, and they unbelievably sensitive. Many of them. So behind this poker face, we have to be careful because we can lose in a second.
Yes.
Absolutely. You're not losing, but you know what I mean.
I know exactly.
That's a bad word, and once I did something. I am not an arrogant or a stupid person, but once, I'm not telling now. And with an orchestra, I told one bad sentence, but not hurting. But anyway, I'm not saying, and it was enough. I knew that they're not doing 100% what I'm asking. I was stupid idiot, but sometimes we need to make some. We have to get some slap.
That's very true.
Yes.
Sometimes we need a dose of reality, or or a slice of humble pie, or whatever, and just say, okay, I screwed up. I said the wrong thing.
Exactly.
So when did conducting really start for you? When did you become interested? And did you take any lessons from anybody?
Very good question. Yesterday was 20 years ago that first time went on the stage to conduct. Yesterday. Yeah. Yesterday, 2002, 9th of September. I know it because the previous day was Pete Sampra's last tennis match against Andre Agassi in the US Open final. Right. I'm a huge tennis fan. Yeah. So and next day I conducted first time. No, okay, quickly saying, I was teaching chamber music in Switzerland from 97 till 2006 in Sion in Tibor Vargas Music Academy. Yeah, Tibor Vargas was a phenomenal, genial violinist and teacher, and he had his own school in Sion in Switzerland, near Montreux, and he invited me as a chamber music teacher. And 2002 March, he called me, Mr. Takács, could you please conduct my orchestra in Expo Biel? It was a big expo in Switzerland, and my orchestra will play there a kind of half jazz, half classical music piece, which is 15 minutes. And because I will be in Graz teaching at this time, he had also a job in Graz Music Academy. I told him, yes, Mr. Varga, yes, but I never conducted, but I will do my best. And he told me, look, the only one thing you have to concentrate. The upbeat has to be clear, and after let them play. I mean, it was a joke, of course. Yeah, it was a joke, of course. And so this was my beginning, that I started to conduct the school orchestra of Tibor Varga Orchestra from 2002. And maybe I was lucky because you know exactly in I feel that for career you need talent, a lot of hard work, and lots of luck. And I had luck. I was exaggerating. I'm just banalizing the whole thing, but I had luck because people seen me who invited me here, and so it was a kind of snowball effect. No, I am very, very, very lucky. One of the most important meeting was in 2005, when I conducted the school orchestra in Sion in the church. Martin Engström, who was the Verbier Festival's founder, and also the Deutsche Grammophon's vice president, I think that time, he came to watch me conducting. And 1 year later, I was at the Verbier Festival conducting and teaching. So now, you need luck in life.
Yes. I'm going to go back to something you just said, because it sort of made me think about, I spent most of my formative years as a teenager leading my county youth orchestra, or leading the orchestra at the conservatoire. Yes. And then I became a professional in Birmingham, but I was also in a small chamber group. There were 6 of us, and I was leading. Yes. And I remember conducting from the violin a performance of Rhapsody in Blue, which the soloist was Elaine Donohoe, wife of Peter Donohoe, the famous pianist.
Yes.
Afterwards, Peter came up to me, and we weren't friends at this. We knew each other, but we weren't friends. And he just sidled up to me and said, "Brilliant conducting," and I was really touched.
Wow!
But what I wonder was, because you led your quartet for so many years, and I did these little leading things. Yes. I wonder whether it helps that we've had to use our body language, and not just our arms, but our whole body. With a shoulder or with a head or with something.
Yes, and breathing also.
Yes, of course.
Because of course it. I'm very well that especially for the winds, bringing them in, bringing with breathing before with them.
Yeah.
And also in the Takács quartet, we practiced even in a totally dark room, especially in Boulder, Colorado, in the studio, that switching off the light and just listening each other breathing, how to start a movement. And I learned a lot with this. Clear breathing, for instance. This was helping me, and the whole body was moving. So I used to have that. I am with musicians, and with our body language, we helping people understand when to play.
Yeah.
So and answering your question, I had, of course, lessons. I went here and there. I never had I never had real education that in a school or institute conducting, but I went to friends also in Switzerland or conductors, and I had 1 or 2 lessons, or even in Geneva Conservatoire when I am teaching. I was teaching more than 20 years string quartet class. I had lessons with a brilliant conductor teacher there in the I invited him for my concerts. We talked through which factors has to be better. This is too big gestures. It's not clear the upbeat. Blah blah blah. So whilst I did not have 1, 2, 3, 4 years of institutional education, I had many meetings and lessons and watching my videos with somebody, and and yes, also Ivan Fischer came to my concert, because Ivan Fischer invited me from 2010 to the Budapest Festival Orchestra. Now I am a first guest conductor, and also came and I asked him, and very good advices. So I'm even now. 2 days ago, I conducted in the Czech Republic, and I'm always writing down on a paper which factor I have to be, where I have to improve. Because all of us, everybody strives till the end of his life, improve.
Yes, absolutely.
The whole life is I think the whole life is a learning experience. Not just conducting, but everything.
No, everything. Yeah,
everything.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. I'm going to ask a specific question. I mean, in the UK, for us, we've known you as the principal conductor of the Manchester Camerata since 2010. But also, you had it sounds like a principal conductor job, principal artist at the Irish Chamber Orchestra.
Yes.
2 smaller orchestras. But then you've got, as you've just said, links with first guest conductor of the Budapest
Orchestra.
Yeah, of the Festival Orchestra, and also you were music director of the MAV Symphony Orchestra.
Yes, no. I was just 2 years.
Yeah,
and now I am guest conductor also there.
Yeah,
no, but not anymore the boss there. Yes.
So my question really is, somebody who spent a lot of time with small chamber orchestras where there may be only 25, 30 players on the platform, and then 80, 90.
Yes.
Does your attitude change at all in how you think the music should be made, how you speak to the players, or do you treat them all exactly the same?
Oh, this is an very good and essential question. If I'm how I'm looking orchestra playing, the approach did not change. I was saying it even in big orchestra when I'm conducted Bruckner symphony or Tchaikovsky or something which I did. Big Tchaikovsky symphony, I'm always saying listen each other, so the anticipate and listen together. I still believe that is possible, especially if Budapest Festival Orchestra, for instance, which is a brilliant orchestra, they can do chamber music listening, but obviously physically I have to do a little bit clearer and a little bit bigger gestures who are sitting much farther.
Yes.
And also the talking, let's face the talking has to be reduced and also have to adapt to the people's vocabulary, or how can I say, with a small chamber orchestra or a quartet, you can talk a lot, you have 5 hours, but a chamber orchestra already much less than a quartet, but a big orchestra, it has to be very effective talk, very quick, and let them playing and know the piece. For instance, Michael, I have to improve in this. One of my big point is this talking. I mean, because our orchestra doesn't want to hear, we let them learn the piece. So just saying 1 sentence, 2 sentences, boom, bam. And I found 1 month ago, Goethe was writing, and I think this should be my motto. Goethe was saying, I'm of course not repeating the great genius word by word, But he's saying, Goethe, somewhere, if somebody wants to tell me a new idea, something, an idea, it has to be short and simple. Complicated and long already enough inside of me. Now this is brilliant.
Yes. If you can keep your directions to an orchestra short and clear.
Exactly.
And what's interesting, talking about your time with the Budapest Festival, is that there have been these masterclasses with Ivan Fischer last year with the Concertgebouw.
Yes.
And I remember him saying to one of the students there, let's talk about what you're trying to say as a sandwich. At the moment, you're telling me all about the packaging around the sandwich. Can you tell me what the sandwich is, please? I want to know if it's a cheese sandwich or a ham sandwich. I don't want to know if it's wrapped in paper or plastic or who made it, or I just give me the facts and tell me the facts quickly. And
yes. And he also told me, Ivan, because I think he told me once, because listen, my rehearsal again the same. No, you don't have to tell 4 or 5 sentences around. Choose 1 or 2 keywords, which is not maybe in the score, like something cantabile, contrast, cantabile, contrast. So say some small words, but again and again, it's a kind of brainwashing. I mean, artistic brainwashing the people, which is the most important, let's say, characteristic words for each movement, or maybe rhythm. The rhythm and now melody. Just this is much more important than saying, oh, here in this bar I'd like to have this kind of atmosphere. It. So but 17 years in the Takács quartet, we were working every day 4 or 5 hours, unbelievably hard way. Obviously, we had time and we could discuss and analyze and arguing about each bar or 2 notes. No, but this kind of things is a little bit too much in my blood still. I have to give an antibiotics against this. So my question, but you told me that I still believe that big orchestra, the greatest orchestras, it could be still listen each other, not saying softer, louder. Okay, listen now the flute, listen the viola with the bassoon. Listen, chamber music, anticipate, but not talking too much, and clearer gestures for somebody sits 40 meters from me. Or
it's something I advocate and I teach, and when I work with amateur orchestras, or I now conduct 2 of them only, and youth orchestras, I steal a line from Ivan Fischer, who said this on a film for the Berlin Philharmonic website. He said, the first stage of music learning for an orchestra is you go home and you learn your music on your own.
Yes.
The second stage is the rehearsal, when your job is to listen to anybody else in the orchestra but yourself. You listen to how you want to know how your music fits with, if you're a violinist, with the flute and the oboe, or maybe the first trumpet.
It's true.
If you're a viola player, am I playing with the clarinets and the horns? Am I playing with the cello? But you're not thinking about your music anymore. You're thinking about everybody else's music. And I always say that, listen to anybody but yourself, just for the first hour or 2 of a rehearsal, and then you'll find out how your music fits. And I think it's so important. I really do. I think for too long, us as children are told by our teachers, follow the stick, follow the stick, follow the stick. Well, better to follow who's conducting in the orchestra rather than necessarily a stick. The stick's there to help for other things, not necessarily like a metronome.
Yeah. And also I had a very, very important meeting around 10 years ago in Bernhard Haitink, Lucerne, in the house. He had a house in Lucerne, and he knew our quartet, the Takács quartet. He came to Concertgebouw small hall once or twice. So I wrote an email, can I meet you? And of course, he was very nice. Of course, I did not ask physical conducting lesson, but I asked, please talk about how you see our role in front of orchestra. He was a real gentleman, a brilliant man. And he told, Gabor, if the orchestra feels that you are there to criticize them and looking for mistakes, they will be blocked and defensive. They have to feel that you are there to inspire them and helping them. So inspiring, helping, and if you don't like something, it was brilliant. not saying, oh, the intonation is not good. Just say, okay, can you listen more carefully the intonation? Or if something not together, oh, let's play once again, feel together the pulsation, flute and oboe and second violin. And so he's saying you have 3 jobs: inspiring them, helping them with it has to be clear, the body language, when to play, how fast, how loud. So inspire them, helping them, and give them confidence because they will play, not you. So your criticism should be a way which is inspiration more than criticism.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. Yeah.
It's so interesting. And also he told me an interesting thing. And if somebody makes a mistake, it's happening, a wind player or a string player or out of tune, or he's saying, don't look there like many of my colleagues with a terrible, angry eye. Never look there because it's already terrible for them. But 5-10 seconds later, look at them with a smile. Look at them with a smile because you deblock the person and the orchestra will be even more with you. Or nice. And you know what he told? You don't mind if saying one more thing?
No, not at all.
He was saying, Gábor, in every orchestra, even the greatest 10-15% of people already tired, they bored with your rehearsal, almost openly showing that they cannot stand you, and not cannot stand you, but a kind of total zombie way playing. And he's saying that till the age of 60, it was unbelievably disturbing me, and Heiting was saying this, unbelievably disturbing, but late, and after I realized, one day I realized something. He talked to a psychiatrist friend of him who's saying the best is if you see these people, don't feel frustration and anger. Just tell yourself, I am very sorry that you not feeling the magic of music. I am still your friend, but I am sorry. Forgiving them and try to feel that, understand they have a human story, a life behind, maybe frustrations with this and this. If you can achieve, he told me, Gábor, if you achieve that you're not frustrated with them and angry, but you are a kind of forgiving and sad for them, suddenly you will get a huge confidence and strength on the stage. And I don't say actually I can say, I conducted Schumann 4th Symphony with the Budapest Festival Orchestra 1 year after this meeting. And there was in one string section, but it's happening, of course, one string player already retired from the orchestra, who I could see and feel did not like me, could not stand me. Now it's happening. And I told in one movement a certain things, I think in the second movement, viola plays the first 3 notes, small bow, and when the crescendo comes, suddenly by your subito, huge full bow playing. And when it happened in the concert, I could see this chap who could not stand me, did not do anything full bow, but poker face, just small bow. And suddenly I remembered Heiting, and believe or not, I did not feel anger. I thought, why? I'm sorry for you that you're not feeling the magic of the Schumann music, and I'm not angry with you. And believe or not, I felt suddenly I'm a strong person, I felt. And later, somebody from the orchestra, 2 persons saying, Gábor, the 3rd and 4th movement went so well, and you were so clear. I mean, I hardly could believe they told me. I'm not praising now myself, so I'm not told me this to you, but it's so interesting, so many things. And he was saying that we have to be psychologically so aware of so many different people in front of us. So since I'm conducting, I am fascinated by human characters and psychology. As
I think you have to be a conductor. You have to be fascinated by the psychology of the orchestra.
Oh yes.
You have to soul search yourself
all
the time to work out what the best approach is going to be. Whether as you said much earlier, whether that sentence you've just said has made them play better, or actually you've now lost some people.
Exactly.
You have to edit after you've seen
totally.
it all the time. Yeah.
All of that.
Yeah.
So what to say and what not to say.
Yeah, absolutely true.
I'm
going to ask you, because I know you've said it earlier on that you've taught chamber music. I'm assuming you've taught individual violin lessons.
Yes.
Do you teach conducting? Because I think you'd probably be a brilliant teacher.
No. Look. Wait. No. If somebody, a young person, comes to me, of course I am giving my experience, bad experience, good experience, what not to do with orchestra, what to do. Of course, but I won't teach. No.
Okay.
Because I am a self-made conductor, and I'm no.
Oh, well, in that case, I can then ask the next question, which I've asked every single other conductor, because if you're self-made, therefore you've probably come up with your own system. How do you learn a score? How do you learn a new score? Do you start from the beginning, work your way through, or do you look at the big picture and zoom in? Are you a scribbler? Do you write lots of things in with pencils, colored pencils, pens? How do you do it?
Yes.
You're grinning.
No, I'm looking the score first. I'm looking the score.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, because I'm not a pianist, I'm very jealous with this. Somebody who can read the new things with piano, this would be the best. I have to admit, I'm listening some a new symphony which I never conducted. I have to hear it, so I have to listen a recording, but it doesn't mean that I will copy it what they do. I'm listening one or two things, and after I start to look the score, and Michael, I am coloring everything like a children's book. If you would see my every yellow, the violin and the viola, brown, I have a collection. I know exactly which instrument, which color. I am literally coloring the whole thing. And it's a little bit strange, but but it's even in concert is helping me sometimes. If I look in the score, I can see that the oboe color is there, or the bassoon or tada, because we know exactly that it's anticipation so important. Even player has to anticipate that one than with violin.
Yes.
Yes. So I am coloring it. And after analyzing, singing it, of course, it's helping a lot that I am a string player.
Yes.
I already developed how I would play, which bow speed, what weight, what speed, what the contact point to the bridge. So the combination of speed, weight, and contact point, D string, G strings, high position. So it's helping a lot that I'm a violinist. Also, I have to say something very honestly to you. I did not know that my mother, I grew up with a mother, of course I loved her, but when I went home, she was always, many times, she was a economist. She went home and she was laying in the bed and looking the ceiling. And they told me, my family members, that she has back problem. But I know now, later I learned that she had depression problem. And I remember as a young boy, when I went home, I was not interested what mother telling me, but how. Because I knew that it's in the sound is something threatening things. And today I know that my mother, with this poor mother, had this big problem with depression. It's made me more sensitive with colors of the voice, the sound. So wise, there are this may be one of my strengths. I'm already developing. When I'm learning, I already hear what kind of piano, what kind of sound this should be. So I'm and also singing for myself, listening. I love old recordings, old master, old great conductors. So I'm learning a lot from them. Timing, color, I'm fascinated by this because the chamber music lessons with Kurtag and Ferenc Rados, who was a fantastic teacher, who was András shift teacher also, and they talked about that the most important things is never in the score, the color and the timing, and the decibel is not yet the color, and of course when something is tempo giusto, you cannot do the special timings, but I'm already try to find out timings, colors. Obviously, I'm always putting who are the leading voices.
Yeah.
How do you know it? But I am coloring.
Yes. Well, I think more conductors have answered that with, yes, I put colours in because it helps them learn the score. There are a few who never put anything in, and it's all keep it clean. As you,
I am admiring them. I am admiring them.
Yeah, so am I, because I'm like you. I use colours, but good for you. But I need my colours, and I need my maps and my arrows and my.
I need my maps and arrows. I cannot.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm even writing in. But you know what? I'm not ashamed to say I am even writing. Even the upbeat is in 1 or is in 3 or no, or the difficult tempo changes. I'm preparing with special arrows.
Yeah. It's it's a fascinating topic, and one I will carry on asking people about.
Yes.
Are you a young conductor, thirsty for knowledge and wanting to discover more about the conducting world? Then my Patreon page is there for you. I'm constantly posting new content there based on my experiences as a conductor, and I offer the chance for you to ask me any question any time of the day. You'll gain access to interviews, video posts, tour diaries, articles and much more. And if you pay for the whole year, then you will gain a 10% discount. And if you're a student, contact me directly and there will be a further discount. All of this can be found at patreon.com/a mic on the podium. And from just £5 a month, you can gain access to this ever-growing resource on conductors and conducting. That's patreon.com. Details and links to the page are in the show notes attached to this and every other episode. Now, the all-important 10 questions with my guest, Gábor Takács-Nagy. Gábor, it's time for the 10 questions, the unavoidable part of the podcast, which every conductor's had to go through. Yes. And I start with, what sound or noise do you love, and what sound or noise do you hate?
What sound I love very much, I love the sea side when I'm in near and seaside, and I love it. I love also I love vocal. Okay, only one answer.
No, you can have more than one.
No, I also walk a lot with my dear wife, and I love in forest the noise of the trees and the nature when the wind is coming. I love it, and also I love when I am in my room coloring my music, and outside is rain. Now, but not especially in evenings. I don't want the rain destroying the day, but in the evening, being and outside the rain, this is what I cannot stand. A fly coming into the room when I try to go. But this I cannot stand.
If you had 24 hours free, what would you spend it doing?
24 hours. Love walking with my wife on seasides, and going to a seaside, walking as much as can, but when we are relaxing in the hotel room, reading very good book, and walking and very good lunch and dinners.
Yeah.
Well,
you're not alone there. I think it's part of one of the nice things about conducting and going to new cities is being able to go to restaurants, and especially if you travel with your wife, which I do occasionally, it's very nice to go and go to new restaurants.
Mike, you know what? It's a kind of joke. Why we like eating? Because musicians, because in our music, from the 5 senses, we only using touch, ear, and eye. But the smell and the taste is not using, so at least somewhere we using.
Yeah, that's very true. I'd never thought of that, but it is very true.
Yes, but other day I thought about this. At least we can use the other two.
Yeah. Well, and therefore I shall look forward to the answer to the final question when we come to food later on.
Yes.
Question number 4. Can you name your favorite conductors or just one conductor of yesteryear?
Furtwängler, Bruno Walter, and Ferenc Fricsay was a Hungarian, which I love, which I also know the family. Bruno Walter, Furtwängler I love very much, and Ferenc Fricsay recordings, and I love very much Carlos Kleiber and Simon Rattle.
Well, Simon Rattle might be therefore one of your answers to question 5, which is favorite current conductor, because Simon is very much still with us. So
yes, of course.
Yeah,
I am naming him.
Yes.
I'm naming him.
Good.
No doubt.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Going back to question 4, Kleiber has appeared very often, Furtwängler and Walter occasionally. I'm not sure anybody has said Ferenc Fricsay in the past.
Because they don't know, maybe they do not know his recordings or something, but fantastic opera recordings. And also, I can tell you, I am in very good friendship with Jeremy Menuhin, Yehudi Menuhin's son, actually going to him dinner tonight. And because he lives, Geneva, he lives near Montreux, and he was the one 15 years ago that my father, Yehudi Menuhin, preferred 2 conductors, Wilhelm Furtwängler and Ferenc Fricsay, to play with. And Ferenc Fricsay was one of maybe the greatest, almost the greatest for Menuhin. And I thought, I have to listen recordings, and wow, unbelievably, I love it. So everybody has, I love it. And I conducted, for instance, the Don Giovanni this summer, the whole opera, and I found Ferenc Fricsay's Don Giovanni and young Dietrich Fischer-Dieskau was Don Giovanni, fantastic, the whole thing for me. And so Ferenc Fricsay,
Number 6, and one of my favorite questions is always, what is the hardest work you have ever conducted?
Yes, two Bartók pieces, one of them Bluebeard Castle.
Yes.
Wow. So it's unbelievably emotional, obviously, with millions of tempo changes.
Yes.
But it's unbelievably emotional. And we know if the gestures are too much emotion, it can be not clear to the players, wise millions of tempo changes. So I found it unbelievably difficult. And the other was Bartók first piano concerto. It was difficult.
Is that the one with in the last movement? Bum 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 bum. Yeah. That's hard. I've never done it.
So sorry. No. This is the second.
Oh, that's the second.
Second also unbelievably difficult. But the first is there are some parts which I almost just prayed. Oh, God, please help me, because. No, this was the 2 things. Yes.
Well, I've got a piano competition final coming up later this year in December, and I've got my fingers crossed that certain pieces don't get to the final.
Yes, I know this.
Chopin number 2.
Chopin is nightmare. Can be phenomenal music, but this rubatos of the conduct.
Absolutely, Chopin and Bartók 1 and 2. I've done number 3.
Bartók 1 and 2 are.
Yeah, I've done number 3 before, but 1 and 2, no, I agree with you. Yeah, brilliant choices. When traveling abroad to conduct, what item could you not leave home without?
No, actually, I have a boring answer. My contact lenses, because once I conducted an orchestra with my specs, and I did a very quick in a subito fortissimo a gesture. And it fell and I could see the brass players laughed the head off, and but it wasn't a good answer yet. So maybe one of the contact lens. Yes, I know. I don't want to give you boring answer.
It's not a boring answer, though. I mean, I've never.
It's a contact lens because
I've got to that age now, Gabor, when. When my arms are now not long enough for me to hold pieces to read music, where I need to start wearing glasses for reading music. And I've never conducted wearing glasses. I used to play the violin wearing glasses many years ago, never conducted wearing them, and I'm dreading having to do it because of that simple thing. There's a famous story of Rozhdestvensky conducting somewhere in Russia, and he did the same. He knocked his glasses off, and they flew into the audience, and they were caught by somebody in the third row. And then they were passed back through the audience to him, so he could put them back on his head. I don't think it's a boring answer, because I'm not sure I could put contact lenses in because I'm squeamish, and therefore I'm going to have to learn to conduct with glasses on. We'll see. We shall see.
Okay. So next
question. What is the one thing you would change about being a conductor?
Not dealing with orchestra musicians for whom it's already burden and boring, and not dealing with burned out musicians.
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, but this is our job. So, but
yeah,
this is, I feel this is the biggest burden for me. But I'm not complaining, because
no.
Part of the job. It's part of the. I'm always thinking about a taxi driver or anybody. Every profession has a difficult factor. For me, this is the most. The burned out people. Because you know exactly, we have to make the dead notes alive. But I am not playing, they playing. So this is the biggest challenge, and sometimes burden.
But it sounds like you at least have a way of accepting it with your high-tech psychological thought process, but it doesn't mean that you still don't have to encounter it every day. And I agree with you. You know, when you can see somebody who's just not in the room, their mind is not in the room with you, they're anywhere and everywhere else. Yeah, it's so true.
This is for me the biggest. I'd like to change this, but I cannot. Okay.
Number 9. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Yes, if I could have another life, I would be a doctor or a singer, or maybe something with the brain, something, either a surgeon or something. But I'm fascinated what the brain is capable. So something, a brain surgeon or a singer.
And not the winemaker of when you were 17.
No, not winemaker. No, it is very good story, but no. A doctor really helping people, because also as a musician, I feel we are spiritual doctors. Music is spiritual medicine. So I feel that we are healing people, but in next life I would be either different way healing, maybe a brain surgeon, or singing in opera. Would be great.
If the world were to end tonight, what would be your choice of final meal and drink?
Yes, I know. I love Hungarian special food, chicken paprikas with noodles. I love it, chicken paprika, but a Hungarian way with some sour cream on it, and the drink would be some Tokaj wine.
Yeah.
But if I can give you a humorous answer, a second answer.
Yes, of course.
But it's a very morbid one. If the world is finishing, I know it's next day or on the day. You will be surprised. Woody Allen told in an interview, I am not afraid of dying, but I don't want to be there when it's happening. So I would have lots of sleeping pill with a fantastic Tokaj wine and drink the food and drink. And because I'm not afraid, but don't want to be when it's coming. So lots of sleeping pill with a fantastic Tokaj wine.
What a wonderful, brilliant answer! And I have to say, I love Tokaj wine. I think it's fantastic.
Great.
And actually, this is rather poignant in the fact that I'm speaking to you on Saturday, the 10th of September. And of course, only a few days ago, Her Majesty the Queen died. And I know that she was a lover of Tokaj wine, and she always had Tokaj delivered to her every year from Hungary. So it was rather poignant that Tokaj appeared in today's interview. Seeing this.
Can I tell a story about Her Majesty? Because the Queen, I was in the festival orchestra, I think it was in 94 or 93, she had an official visit to the Hungary, which was already not communist. So it is the first time the Queen went to the not communist Hungary 93, and with the festival orchestra with Ivan Fischer, at the state dinner, we were supposed to play for her a Haydn, not minuet, a march with Haydn composed for the English king. I don't dare to say George which one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who when Haydn was there, he wrote for the English king. So, and the dinner, they told us that the Hungarian president and the queen will arrive 10:30 in the evening. It was a fantastic palace in Budapest. We were ready, standing there, chamber orchestra, and when she came coming, we were playing the Haydn march, which is 3 minutes. And but they told that it was, we waited, and they saying Tokaj wine. They showed her special Tokaj wines, which was 800 years old, and just one sip from each, a little bit. And she loved it so much that the whole thing was 55 minutes late. the Tokaj wine and so I remember, but she came and was sitting 3 meters from us and listened it, and they clapping, and they went away. And I remember I went back to, my daughters were small, and I told my daughters, Papa played the violin for the Queen of England. And 1 week later, my wife came back from the school. Oh, the teachers asking, is it true that your husband played for the Queen of England? Anyway, but the Tokaj wine and the Queen has the story that it was 50 minutes delay because showing unbelievably fantastic Tokaj wines for her.
Well, it's been unbelievably fantastic chatting to you. Really,
Thank you very
has,
much.
Gabor.
Likewise.
I've really enjoyed it, and I hope soon, maybe when you're in Manchester, I'll come up and watch a concert, and we can maybe share a glass of Tokaj afterwards.
23rd of September, I am in Manchester, Stoller Hall.
Therefore, I shall see if I can get there. Thank you very much.
And we will drink, and thank you very much I enjoyed it. Thank you.
A Mic on the Podium was devised and produced by Michael Seal, with music by Ben Dawson. Next time, I stay in Manchester and chat to a British conductor who has a successful freelance career, but is probably better known as being at the forefront of conducting teaching in the United Kingdom. His name has appeared many times in previous episodes due to his highly successful conducting classes at Manchester University and the Royal Northern College of Music. But until then, bye-bye.